Lawyers of Reddit, what are some interesting laws loopholes? In Denmark, if the sea between Sweden and Denmark freezes and a Swede crosses the ice on foot, you're allowed to beat him/her with a stick until they leave. Best part? It's in our constitution, so it's nearly impossible to change it. Yeah, but why would any Swede risk their life to get to Denmark? Beer. If you kill someone and get rid of the evidence, you won't go to jail. Neat little loophole. But if the police found out you got rid of the evidence, can you be charged with destruction of evidence interfering with a police investigation? Not if you do it before there's an investigation. Or if you kill the entire police force and get rid of the evidence. Someone you're married to can't testify against you about something you told them, even if they wanted to, so feel free to tell your spouse about that time you did something illegal. However, someone you're married to can choose whether or not they want to testify against you about something they actually saw you doing, so only let your spouse watch you do something illegal if you really trust them. Hey honey, I just trust you so much, and I want to take our relationship to the next level. Or, that's so sweet, what did you have in mind? Wanna watch me kill a homeless guy? Another interesting marriage loophole, a husband and wife can't be arrested for the same crime. In the UK the legal age of drinking is 5 as long as there is a guardian present and as long as it is not in a licensed area, pub, club, bar etc. However, a beer garden of a pub doesn't count, so you can legally have a shot of tequila with a toddler while watching the Teletubbies. It's Tequila Toddler Teletubbies Tuesday folks. Not a lawyer, but I do work as a repossession agent. If you have knowledge that the loan company is coming to repossess your car, parking it on the neighbor's property will most likely not allow us to proceed. Contracts don't allow us to repossess from different addresses on the warrant. Cars parked at the neighbor's, we can't touch it. I doubt repo men will follow the letter of the law. Even if you catch them doing this, it's not like you can bring a case against them. Could your awesome super friend neighbor sue the collection agency for trespassing, though? I was told once that if you ever suspect your car can be repossessed and you have another vehicle, merely parking the safe car behind the repo car in the driveway will protect it. You don't have to move your other car and they can't touch it. Yeah. A friend of mine is currently on the repo list. Her fiancé used to work as a repo man and he does this. They also can't take it if you're in the car, so if you see them coming just get in it. Before you get the pitchforks, they are making payments to get caught up. They are not trying to outright steal it. Apparently there's a bunch involving taxes, but I'm not rich enough to know about them. Set up headquarters in Ireland. Set up another office in Netherlands. All sales are done by the Dutch office, with all profits routed to the Irish office. Now you need to open a third office, one which is a tax resident of a tax haven such as say, Bermuda, but is in Ireland. Transfer all intellectual property to this office. Now the original Irish company can essentially give the money to the one in Bermuda by saying that it is paying royalties, which aren't taxed. Congratulations, you are now making money in the EU and paying no tax. The guy who paid $16 for a $330,000 house using a loophole that said something along the lines of if a house was abandoned and no one contested it and you moved in and lived in the house for 3 years you had ownership. People should clarify which country their loophole applies in. We're not all in the same country, so we don't have the same laws. If they are too inconsiderate to specify, it means they're from America. You can have sex with a mute, because they can't say no. A real lawyer must be legit. I just asked my mute friend to confirm. She didn't dispute it. Massachusetts has 2 ages of consent. 18 if you're a virgin, 16 if you're not. Also, self-defense is not a valid legal defense. For those of you confused about this statement, look for Pancake Economics' explanation in the replies. She explains it better than I can. Your Honor, I took her virginity in self-defense. Denied. You absolutely can argue self-defense, it's just that MA will usually prosecute you if you do and let the jury decide. Funny thing though, if you go a little north then you end up in the state with the lowest violent crime rate in the country. We also have enhanced castle, no duty to retreat anywhere you are legally permitted to be, and some of the loosest gun laws in the country. In the UK the monarch can't technically break the law. Or at least she can't be prosecuted for it. In other words, to use this loophole, step 1. Become monarch. If you are not a Catholic or married to one, you can do it by killing enough people before you are arrested. Same in Sweden. Story time. Once, a lowly farmer was driving on a Swedish highway with his tractor, and is suddenly passed by a yellow Porsche driving in 150 to 60 km per hour, almost 100 miles per hour. Another driver followed the car into a nearby village to see who the madman, in the fabulous car, was. Lo and behold, it's Karl V. Gustaf, the King of Sweden. Shortly thereafter, he was blocked by a car from the Swedish Secret Service, and had to end his pursuit. And best of all, nobody can prosecute the guy, who doesn't even have any power anymore. He is just symbolic. Sweden, everybody. Land of the Viking King. If you ever want to mail something less than legal, pop it into a USPS first class envelope. According to the mailing standards of the United States Postal Service, federal law dictates that the only person who can open first class mail is the addressee. This means that the Postal Service and any federal agency cannot inspect search first class mail. TLDR, no one can inspect first class mail. No one. But Obama can order to kill addressee. What I found interesting as a law student is how little liability waivers actually do. Basically, you can always sue someone, liability waiver or not. If it's their fault, it's their fault. It gets a little more complicated, scope of consent, etc. But yeah, a lot looser than you'd think. If you tell a cop that you run a meth lab, they can't do anything to you. In India, pay a cop and you're free. Pretty neat loophole. In Australia, if you immediately contest the results of a breathalyzer test with police, you can go to a nearby hospital for a blood test within 1 hour of being tested. Can't drive yourself though. A friend was driven there but on the way ate 2 12-inch subs and drank a liter of Gatorade. The results showed a significant enough difference between the reading and the blood test for it to be thrown out in court. I feel like this could be a commercial for a Gatorade Subway partnership. With our new breathalyzer meal TM, you can avoid an empty stomach and drunk driving fines. If you put $1 in a machine and it plays a game and pays you money if you win, that is gambling, often illegal. If you put $1 in a machine and it dispenses a product, Coca-Cola, then lets you play a game and pays you money if you win, that's called a promotional game and it is legal in all 50 states. You can legally view porn anywhere as long as you have a library card. In Iowa, strip clubs are illegal, but there's a loophole. It's perfectly fine if it's for art. A place called the Playhouse gets around the law by having girls rehearse Shakespeare for an hour every Sunday morning. The rest of the weeks it's fully nude stripping. The town referred to here is a border town on the English-Welsh border. You can shoot a Welsh person with a bow and arrow in Chester, inside the city walls and after midnight. You may only shoot a Welsh person with a bow and arrow inside the city walls and after midnight. It is against the law to call any Welsh person English. All males over the age 14 must carry out 2 or so hours of longbow practice a week supervised by the local clergy. Criminals can apply for sanctuary in Notre Dame Cathedral and must be fed and watered for up to 6 weeks. Isn't after midnight all the time? In Scotland, the social work department can apply for a child protection order to take your kids off you whenever they want. In practice, the reasons they give for taking said kids aren't required to be backed up with evidence. 'Tis bullshit. You're missing out that they can only remove the child for 8 days maximum. It's a short-term measure. Free babysitting for up to a week. It's been suggested that it's possible to commit a felony with impunity in the portion of Yellowstone National Park that sits in Idaho. The national park is a federal enclave and does not fall within the jurisdiction of any of the 3 states it inhabits, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. When those states were admitted to the Union, they ceded that land to the United States and cannot enforce their laws there. When Congress created the District Court for the District of Wyoming, it decided to place the entirety of Yellowstone Park within that jurisdiction. Here's where things get a little weird. The vicinage clause of the 6th Amendment entitles a defendant to a trial by a jury drawn from the state and district in which the alleged crime occurred. According to the latest US Census, that portion of the park has a population of 0. That is, no one lives in both Idaho and the District of Wyoming. So, if, for example, an individual were to murder someone in the Idaho portion of Yellowstone, he would be hauled off to Cheyenne for presentment. Once the defendant has been indicted, however, the U.S. attorney would be powerless to try him unless the defendant waived his right to a jury trial or voluntarily submitted to the jurisdiction of the District of Wyoming. To the best of my knowledge, this has never been tested. As a non-American, I understood none of that. Thanks for watching.